let's make lemonade. Okay. Let's go to work.
That's the signal. Go. 6. It's beautiful. Mother Nature just pissed her pants, dude.
Start your day with a jolt of energy and no-holds-barred opinions. This is The Rush, where Travis Justice and Ross Peterson bring you bold, unfiltered, and uncensored takes on sports, life, and everything in between. Buckle up and let's go.
Happy Friday, everybody. Welcome to the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive. Good to have you along on a Friday, the 16th of May. If you're listening on the rushradio.com audio stream or the Android app, thank you for tuning in this morning. It's good to be on your computer, in your car, wherever you're driving around. If you're watching us on YouTube this morning, thank you so much. Give this channel a subscription, like the video, leave your comments, and participate with the rest of the community. And there is a big community that participates each and every day. It's fun to see everybody chatting around. And don't forget, you can follow us on X, Facebook, and Instagram. Hello there, Roscoe Peterson.
What's up, buddy? Fast week.
It was and it wasn't. It's like, what did they say? The days are long, the weeks and years are fast.
Something like that. Sure. This one was a fast week for me. I don't know why. I woke up, I was getting ready this morning. I'm like, damn, Friday. This week came and went.
Yeah. I got a lot of work to do. I got a busy weekend coming up. I was out at my mom's house yesterday. We're getting that thing cleaned out. We got the coming soon signs in the yard. We got coming soons. Now, as a realtor, as a professional realtor.
Hold on.
Yes.
You can put coming soon signs in the yard?
Yes. So it says, because it's not going on the MLS and the market until the 27th of May. But I wanted to build interest in the house. So we put the yard signs are there. It says coming soon. And I believe when you go to the MLS, it says, hey, here's the house, but no showings yet, but just to build a little momentum for it.
Okay. So the house is on the MLS.
Well, I think so. I don't know.
Okay.
I haven't checked.
Here's the thing. This is why I'm asking, Travis, because in Des Moines, we have our 24-hour rule. You put a sign in the yard, the house has to be listed on the MLS within 24 hours.
I better go check the MLS. All it says is, but the sign says coming soon.
And does it have a realtor's name on it or anything?
Yes. That's
interesting. I never thought about
the business over here a little differently.
I'm learning the big city. I'm learning.
Ross is my consultant, and I call him and say, hey, we're doing this. And you're like, how are you guys doing this?
No, that's not the way this happens.
Does over here.
Apparently. Hey, more than one way is to skin a cat. I'll tell you that, man. You learn that in this business too. Like everybody comes at it with different angles and different approaches. That's cool. I think that seems totally fine to me. I mean, the 24-hour rule is kind of a dumb thing, and realtors find ways around it with pocket listings and stuff like that. So anyway, when you said put the coming soon on, excuse me?
Yeah, it literally says coming soon, and it goes. We're going to start showing it on the 27th. So, when you take over a person that is the only person that lived in the house. My mom was the only person ever to live in this house, so she had it 60 years. And what we're finding is cleaning a house out is not an easy task. Now, my brother who flew over from Portugal, Nick, has been living at the house, and he's been unfortunately given the task of cleaning said house because I've got a full-time job. My brothers have full-time jobs, and so we can't be there all the time. And I was thinking last night, I do a daily, I'm the executor of the will, so I do like a daily email just to keep everybody up to date on what's going on. I want full transparency. I don't want them to come back and go, you tried to cheat us. That's not going to happen to me. I want everything. But I at the end of the email last night, I said, guys, I really want to thank Nick because he has done the lion's share of cleaning this house out. And I was out there yesterday just getting some pictures and stuff. And I'm like, boy, if mom would have done this, the house looks much bigger. She had she wasn't a hoarder, but she didn't get rid of stuff.
You accumulate stuff in your life.
You do.
And at the end of it,
really do.
Man, it's kind of sad. It's kind of sad because it meant something to somebody, but then the rest of the world walks into that room and goes, well, this is all junk.
You know, before Mom passed away, we said we were trying to get her to clean the stuff out, and because she's like, no, I want you guys to have this. Like, and we were all like, Mom, we're going to throw this in a dumpster. And you could see the look on her face, like just disappointment.
Yeah.
And what's happening? It's going to the Goodwill and it's going to the dumpster. I go, we just don't have any need for this stuff.
Again, you guys have all accumulated your own stuff from your own life.
And she would bring loads into our house anyway. It'd be like, no, we don't want any more of this. But Anjanette got tasked with the job of scanning all the pictures, because nobody wanted to throw out all the pictures, but you can't equally distribute pictures or you're never going to see them again. So Anjanette she was going through pictures. I bet there's thousands we're going to have to scan and create like files for my brother to say, well, here they are. Here are the photos. But yeah, so coming soon. If you want to live in Minden, Iowa in a walkout ranch, you
get your pre-approval from Gary Presnall and give me a call.
Right.
We'll make a trip to Minden.
Minden is a beautiful, beautiful town, 358 strong. You got a bar, you got a restaurant. Now it was, decimated by a tornado last year, but it's rebuilding. It's rebuilding.
Yeah.
So yeah, but it's funny because a house just down the street from me had a coming soon sign, Ross, for like 2 weeks. And the day they took the coming soon, the sold sign was up.
Sold sign was up. That's listen, if you can do it, it's a great idea.
So you need to go to the office now guys, what about coming soon signs? Can we
I can tell you they're not allowed. I don't think so. I've never checked on the specifics of the coming soon. You can't put a for sale sign up.
Yeah. So maybe
interesting. Holy cow.
Coming soon, because what it's doing is, and if you put it on the MLS, I think she's putting it on the MLS. It says coming soon. Here's the cost. Here's everything.
Yeah.
However, no showings until this date.
Yeah. That was really popular in 2020, 2021 when houses were flying really fast. You wanted to make sure that you could get the right offers in. And so this is how I sold Josh Fisher's house. This exact thing. Put it on the market, told people they could come through the weekend, and we would accept offers on Monday. And Monday we had like 17 offers to go through.
Now, I don't know how you feel about this, but the realtor said, hey, what do you think about open houses? I said, I don't want them. I don't want an open house. If you want to come through the house, go ahead. I don't need the rest of the town or the rest of the neighborhood going, let's go see Joan's house, because that's all it's going to be is neighbors walking through. And I'm like, I don't want people just walking through the house. If you're really interested, you're going to find a realtor and you're going to schedule a showing. So I said, no open houses. Agree or disagree with that?
I like it. I mean, open houses are for your realtor. Open houses are for your realtor to meet buyers. That's what the open house is for, your realtor. Very, very, very small percentages of homes are sold during open houses. They happen. It does happen. Usually not in smaller communities like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't think you're not in the wrong at all about that, dude.
Yeah. I have
just
learned,
fine, my friend.
I have learned one thing. I don't want to follow your career path. I don't want to be a realtor.
I love it.
I know you do. Me, I'm just like, nah, this would not be for me. This would not be for me. Right before we're getting on the air, you're ready to tell me a story. Do you remember what that story was? You're like,
I do. I mean, it's for the air. So last night, I went and recorded a video with my buddy, Danger Boy. His name is Andy Von On, and he's the morning show host on 97.3. He's been one of my best friends since high school. He and I do every year the first week of June. Ironically, June 6th this year, day before all the fun. We have the Scarlet Celebration, and every year they invite all of the alumni together at this big banquet hall out in Prairie Meadows, and we have a fun night. We introduce the people that are being inducted into the Hall of Fame. They don't do a speech, but they have like a little 3-minute video that plays. And yesterday we went to go record the video that's just like, hey, tickets are available. We're looking forward to seeing you type of thing. Well, they hand me the script for the night for that night. And we are going to start a new thing at the Scarlet Celebration. We're going to start the athletic Hall of Fame inductions as well. So not just the Hall of Fame, like, you did really good with your life, but you accomplished something special on the field, and that puts you in the Hall of Fame. The guy that we're putting in this year, there's a couple people that we're putting in. One of them passed away. In 1925, he was the first state champion in Iowa for tennis. When they first sanctioned tennis as a sport in the state, and I want to say his name was Allen, but I'm going to screw it up. What his name was? This guy won the state title the very first year. He was a black guy. He then started a club for black kids in Iowa to learn how to play tennis.
Cool.
Very cool story, man. Very cool.
Those are the stories you just don't know about, right? That probably need to be told and reminded, that because back in 1925, even in Iowa, that probably was not an easy thing to do.
Not at all. Not at all. So that was there was some cool stuff with that. So I thought that was neat. And then my first thought was like, well, how the hell was this guy not in the Hall of Fame already? And it turns out that they've like changed the criteria. And it used to be at East, you had to hit certain benchmarks. Like you had to be an all-state athlete. Somehow this guy had just fallen through the cracks, it seems like. But they've changed that rule now. And now they can induct, and now we can nominate anybody.
By the way, doesn't a state champion make you all state? I'm just
that's why I was blown away. I'm like, why is this guy in?
Yeah, to me, if you win a state championship, I don't care because what happened is you have people that vote on it, right? And you mentioned he was a black guy in 1925. Oh, we can't do that.
Maybe it could have been it. Didn't think about that. Yeah.
Wow, and you are an encyclopedia when it comes to all things East, and the fact that you didn't know this,
had never heard that story. No.
Wow, that is really, really cool. Here's what I'm impressed about, because I MC a lot of events, and that is you got your script like 3 weeks before the event. Because most people are like, oh, we're still putting the final touches on it. What do you mean you're putting the final touches on it? It's amazing when you work with major corporations or large institutions, how they fret over the script. They'll be like, oh my God, well, I'm going to change this word. Don't worry. I'm going to just say it in my words anyway. So you don't have to worry about the grammar police coming after me. Yeah, but do we like this word or this word? I don't care what word you use. Again, I'm just going to ad-lib it. But we
do this thing at the Scarlet Celebration called the roll call. It's like the highlight of the night. Okay, when I describe it, you're not going to understand why it's the highlight, but trust me, it's fun. Okay, so they invite the kids that just graduated. So the class of 2025 will be there. The band will be there to play the fight song and stuff like that. And so then we will do a roll call. We'll say, all right, we're going to go through every class we're going to through every year. And if you graduated that year, when you hear the year that you graduated, we want you to clap. Okay. 2025. And there'll be like, 50 kids that'll clap. Right. And then we'll go 2024. And there will not be a single kid.
You get down 1979, then it's like it gets more, because the farther away you get, probably the more connected you want to be connected to the school.
Yeah.
You were what, 1996? 6?
Yeah. And there's usually 3 people from my class at the thing. Me, Andy, the other co-host, and our buddy Pat Lowe, who's a teacher in the district.
What's up?
Last year, we put Brad Zelinovich's dad into the Hall of Fame. So Brad came, and we had 4.
How many people usually get to this thing? Like a couple hundred?
Oh, several hundred. Yeah. It's a big deal. It's a fun deal.
I'm telling you, you should, just because of all that you give back to East, you should be a Hall of Famer someday.
We'll slow down. I think they're waiting to make sure I don't screw this thing up.
It's just slowing down. We're like Ross is still on a trial run here.
Dude, like when you look at the people that are in the East Side Hall of Fame, and I love what North does, because like Bill Blank is in the North Hall of Fame, and when you go to North, the Hall of Fame stuff is right there by the gym. You get to walk past and read everybody's stuff. It's really cool. But I will tell you, it's a much higher bar at East High School. It's a much smaller Hall of Fame, and it is like, it's like Ron Pearson, CEO of Hy-Vee for 30 years.
Went to Grandview, by the way.
Connie Bozen, mayor of Des Moines. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it's pretty rare air. If they were like, yeah, we got this idiot who talked on the radio, like, can we put him at the bottom of the list, please?
Well, and it's a reminder, and you'll see this in most major cities, right? I live like 4 blocks from Benson High School in Omaha. Benson High School is by far the worst high school in the city. Academic standards, graduation rates, it's just bad. But if you go back in time, it was one of the best. And then you start seeing the people who graduated from there. You're like, oh my God, this school was amazing at one time. But because of gentrification, all that stuff, just
you know what it
everything
is?
Changes.
It's housing.
Yes,
it's housing.
100%.
Because the houses get older, the families move out of those houses, the wealthy families build new homes. Their jobs allow them to move into nicer communities. These older homes that are now run down are, it's a different culture that moves in there. Dude, East High is the best example of this it's the best example. When I was a kid at East High School, it was really common for people to go, the teacher would go through roll call the first day and he'd go, Travis Justice. Now, wait a minute. Are you Nick's brother? You're Joni's kid, right? I taught your mom and your uncle and your brothers. I know your whole family. And the teacher would go around the room and do that with every single kid. He'd go, I know you. I know your family. I taught your dad, taught your uncle. I know the street you live on. That's gone. That's gone because those union jobs that kept people on the East Side for a long time, that kept that generational knowledge in the community, those union jobs became really good jobs in this last generation. Yeah. And those guys moved out and built new homes out in Altoona and Runnels and Pleasant Hill. And that emptied those neighborhoods, which then the vacuum happened. It pulled other families in and it changed the culture. It doesn't mean it's better or worse, by the way. You look at sports as a great example of it because people will look at football and they go, oh my gosh, East and Roosevelt can't compete in football with Southeast Polk. What has happened? Well, then why does Roosevelt go out and kick their ass in soccer to dominate them? Is that a culture thing too? Is that oh my God, what's happening at Southeast Polk? Why aren't the kids caring about? No, it's culture. Then I think not color, culture.
Culture. And I'll throw another thing in there, especially here. Open enrollment has killed some of the schools too, because you're like, well, do I want to go there? The standards are starting to drop a little bit, or the graduation rates. And they're like, I can go anywhere I want, so I'm just going to go to another school. And, recruiting when it comes to athletics plays a part too with that open enrollment.
I'd say recruiting plays a small part in it because you're going to get a couple of athletes that are going to move school districts. The open enrollment thing is a great thing. Great.
Yeah, because you have school choice at that point.
Yes, and you're not forced into going to some school your kids being taught by some person you don't want them to be taught by, stuff you don't want them to be taught. I'm a prime example of this. One kid that's in DMPS and one that isn't. There's a very specific reason for that, why that is happening.
Hey, I want to say congratulations to Matt Nielsen. Matt Nielsen won our Greenbelt Music Festival tickets. He sent us a picture yesterday drinking some Core Power. He was drinking Core Power from Atlanta Coca-Cola Bottling Company, and he won a pair of weekend passes to the Greenbelt Music Festival going on starting today, going through tomorrow in Clive. So Matt's going to be going to the Greenbelt Music Festival. If you like tickets, if you like going to really big events, the Rush Radio Show is the place to get said tickets, because next big event coming up is going to be Shane Gillis, the comedian. And all you have to do is go to therushradio.com. That's therushradio.com to get signed up for the Shane Gillis suite tickets. And you'll get a suite experience. You're going to be sitting in the Choice Creative and the Choice Community Credit Union suite. Ross is going to be there. I'm going to be there. Not that that's a big deal. You're going there to see Shane Gillis. And but go to the promotions tab and enter your name, your telephone number, your email address. We're not going to spam you or anything like that, but we're just collecting names, and we'll do a drawing for that. But Shane Gillis coming up on the 31st of May, I think it is 31st of May. The Iowa baseball team was in action last night. We had Kyle Peterson from ESPN on earlier this week, and he said, listen, Iowa's going to have to play well this weekend and in the Big Ten tournament, even to make the NCAA tournament. And Ross and I were both like, wow, really? Because we thought that Iowa, based on being at the top of the Big Ten standings, was like a shoo-in for the NCAA tournament. And then Kyle put things into perspective for us and said, listen, they haven't played anybody. They haven't played anybody. And then the number 5 team in the country shows up in Iowa City last night for a first of a 3-game set, and they got 10-run ruled, Ross. They got beat 10-0 in 7 innings. And the dagger came in the 5th when your 9-hole hitter hits a grand slam for the Ducks. So you got your 9-hole kid going, who earlier at the bat, in his first at bat, he squared up to bunt, and I felt sorry for him. He scored up the bunt, and he kept his hand on front of the bat.
What?
Yes. I mean, how many times have you been told when you are learning to bunt, keep your hands behind the
Every
bat?
time you were taught to bunt, do not grab the barrel. Oh,
yes. So, and it hits him square in the tip of the finger, and he was down for several minutes. And it was funny to listen to the Iowa crowd because, at first they felt sorry for him. Then it's just like, okay, do I want to get back in the batter's box? Do I not want to get back? Then it's like, come on. He's still sitting there with agony and pain. And
then in his second at bat, dropped a grand slam.
Yes. So,
dude, Kyle did put a lot into perspective for us. He did tell us, and with that very, almost sad look in his eye to say it to us, right? Like, guys, they're just not that. They're not as good as you think they are. They haven't played anybody. They certainly haven't beat anybody. They got a chance to do this with Oregon. Didn't look good over the weekend in Principal Park with Oregon State, and now a bad start to this 3-game series when you need to be playing your best baseball. Darn, man. Darn.
Yeah, and here's another downside of it because, as Kyle put, a lot of the committee doesn't watch each and every game. Well, last night was on FS1. That was a national game. So you're like, oh, my God, college baseball is on FS1. We're going to watch this. And then you're watching a 10-run rule game, and Grayson Grinsell from Oregon threw a gem. He pitched a complete game, 7 innings, because that's all it went, gave up just 2 hits. And look at the way Iowa – throughout the season has hit the ball so well, and the run differential was so good, but not last night. Grinsell had 7 innings, struck out 8, walked 1 in that 10-0 win. I mean, if you're starting pitching, that's an outing, man.
That's dealing, dude.
That's dominating, just absolutely dominating. So the Hawks aren't out of it. They are home tonight against the Ducks. That's going to be on the Big Ten Network. That starts at 6:02, and then the series finale is tomorrow at noon at Dwayne Banks Field. They had a good crowd there last night, but again, just a kind of a missed opportunity for the Hawks.
Yeah, it's tough, man. I was really looking forward to this wrap up to this college baseball season. And I don't blame Kyle. I don't blame Kyle for throwing the wet blanket on it. He was just being honest with us and telling us what we needed to hear. But last night was hard. Like, seeing that they didn't feel like they were able to compete at that. These next 2 are really big. I think just for the mentality of that team, man. They have to be thinking the same thing, Travis. You're winning. You're at the top of the Big Ten standings. Oh, my God. We might get a chance to get into the NCAA tournament here.
Now, the good news is where there's still a good chance, and this is where the Big Ten is wide open, and Holly just put this in the group chat, is that Northwestern actually went out and beat UCLA last night.
Wow.
So with UCLA losing, that keeps Iowa right in it, and Oregon's still in it. If Oregon sweeps Iowa now, Oregon's going to win the Big Ten. But if Iowa can get the 2 of the next 3, because Iowa can get in the locker room last night because you're going to feel bad. You get 10-run ruled, you're on national television, you're like, man, what just happened? Then you go, hey, Northwestern just beat UCLA, which is kind of a shocker because they were at UCLA. You go, oh, you're telling me there's a chance. So there is still a chance, but they need a win tonight in the worst way. So, again, that game's going to be on the Big Ten Network. We do have a busy Friday coming up. We'll talk a little golf in the 6:30 hour, not just from the PGA Championship, but also Ross has an NAIA golf story. Yes, NAIA, National Tournament Golf story that we're going to get to. And at 7:30, Jamie Pollard, athletics director at Iowa State, is going to be joining us. Lots to talk about with Jamie. Lots. I mean, we got him scheduled for about a half hour, and I think we could probably go an hour, maybe 2 hours with Jamie. I'm looking forward to this conversation.
Yep, me too.
You know what? I was thinking about this question that I want to ask him, and I'll preview it right now because I hope you don't mind me saying this, Ross. You just purchased plane tickets to Dublin, Ireland, right?
Yeah. Yep.
You're not going for the football game. You're going to go for a vacation in October.
Yeah.
So this popped into my head. Okay, when you go to Dublin, you're going to get off the plane. You're going to go through customs, and you're going to have to show your passport to say, "Hey, welcome to Ireland." Okay, you've got 100 and some people that are going to need passports for this trip for Iowa State, which is fine. When did you start planning? I'm going to ask Jamie. When did you start planning? Hey,
dude,
you all need to get a passport, but passports aren't cheap if you get it for the first time. It's $100 and some. Now you're going to think, well, it's $100 and some. These guys got NIL. Not everybody's getting on NIL because it is a school sanctioned trip. Does the school pay for the passport?
That's actually a good.
I know.
I hate that we have a half hour. We're going to ask him about that stuff, but I love it. That's a funny question, Travis.
But that's also an expense. Let's say you have to. Let's say, hey, it's a school sponsored, and probably I would bet maybe three quarter of the team didn't have a passport. I didn't get my first passport till I was in my 30s.
That's a fair point.
Because you didn't get a passport,
until I was going to Jamaica on my honeymoon.
Yeah. Because it's not something you think about when you're a teenager.
Yeah, when you're a college kid thinking you're going to play your football in Iowa, and then you get a trip to Ireland. You know what, Trav? I wonder how much of the planning that even had to be like before they accepted this invitation. Did they have to send out a survey? Who's got passports?
And then the recruits coming in, right? You're going to have freshmen. Hey, make sure you show up to campus. You'll need your everything, and get a passport.
The question that I want to ask Jamie that's really broad and maybe not fair. You can go backwards or forwards. If I gave you a magic wand and said, fix this, what would that look like?
Because hindsight's always 20/20, right?
Yeah. Would you just say, all right, let's just go back to the original thing? Or would you say, all right, we're halfway there. We're halfway there. If we can just wave this magic wand and get these other things done, we'll get to where we want to be. And I don't know right now, Travis. I know that the way is the way forward. I know that's the way. But it's getting weird.
It's very weird. And that's why I'm looking forward to our conversation with Jamie Pollard again at 7:30. So don't miss it. 515-517-2303 is the number to call. It is The Rush Radio Show at therushradio.com.
I'm loving these wooden nickels, Brian.
Yeah, I suppose everyone is catching on.
Just spend $20 to get a wooden nickel.
It's 25.
Collect 10 and add up the savings on your next purchase.
Some of these are worth $5. That could be huge.
I know, right? That's why you have to spend $20.
It's 25.
Collect 10. It's like money back to you.
Spend 20, you get another wooden nickel.
It's 25.
Collect 10 and add up the savings. It's huge.
Central City Liquor is home of the 10% cash coupon.
And the wooden nickel program.
It's huge.
When was the last time you had your alignment checked? If it's been a while, your car could be out of alignment and you wouldn't even know. Improper alignment can lead to poor gas mileage, premature tire wear, and poor grip on the road. That's why we offer free alignment checks with any regular service to ensure your Cadillac can handle whatever the road throws at it. So give us a call or schedule online at williscadillac.com.
Missing a quality, home-cooked meal? You know, the kind Mom used to make? Lucky for you, we found her recipe book. Welcome to the High Life. Welcome to the Champagne of Bars.
Looking for the perfect golf escape? Experience links-style golf right here in Ames at Coldwater Golf Links. With rolling fairways, large greens, and unique routing, It's golf the way it's meant to be played. Whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out, you'll love our course's welcoming atmosphere and friendly staff. Grab your clubs, book a tee time, and make every round unforgettable. Coldwater Golf Links, where great golf leads to great memories. Visit coldwatergolf.com to book your round today.
Spring cleaning continues. Come down to Land Rover Des Moines to get your front and rear differential fluid services done for $199.95 each. Preventative maintenance is important to ensure your vehicle runs smoothly down the road. To schedule, give us a call or head online at LandRoverDesMoines.com.
Back to the Rush. Strong opinions, weak filters, and just enough sense to stay on the air. It's the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive.
Welcome back to the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive. You know, it's going to be a nice weekend. Good weekend to go out to Willis Automotive, any one of its locations, and buy a car. Get yourself a car. That's what I'd do.
Check out the pre-owned lot or go into the Cadillac showroom. If you want to see, dude, just go in there and get my oil changed and then spending that 20 minutes or whatever walking around the Cadillac showroom. My goodness.
And what is it about
They're works of art, dude. They are works of art.
What a great name. I mean, there's fancy cars with Fords, there's fancy cars with Range Rovers, but there's something about a Cadillac. Now, it may say that you're a little bit older, but it means...
I think it used to, Travis. I don't... dude, they got one out there right now that's baby blue. It might be the sweetest car I've ever seen. It's a sedan, and it is freaking amazing looking. It's $125,000, but it's sweet.
It's sticker price $125. But what type of payment you looking for? Here's where I'm bad, and I like going to car lots just to look at cars.
Yeah.
There's something about looking at cars that just. I know I don't need a car right now. Another car. Can't wait to. We're going to be selling the van here pretty soon. It'll
be a good day.
The van's going to go on back on the Facebook Marketplace, but it is. There's something about just going to a car lot and looking at cars. Can I sit in it? Maybe it's the smell. Maybe I just want to sit in it and go, new car smell.
Johnny Mick wrote in. He's a car guy. He says the Cadillac Blackwing, that's not an old man car. That's the one I'm talking about.
Is it a car or SUV?
It's a car.
Okay.
And it's freaking sweet. Travis, it has I would call it carpet, but it's more like felt on the inside of the wheel well. I'm looking at this car. I'm like, what? So I call Carlstead. I'm like, Carlstead, this Cadillac has freaking carpet on the inside of the wheel well. What's going on? He's like, yeah, it's sound dampening. He goes, dude, luxury. It's a luxury car.
Luxury.
It dampens the sound, keeps the car quiet.
So yesterday, the PGA Championship kicked off at Quail Hollow, and Scotty Scheffler was mad at the rules that were established for the PGA Championship because Quail Hollow got 5 inches of rain the day before, Ross. And they decided to play the ball down. And this is new stuff I'm learning. Playing the ball up or playing the ball down. And they played the ball down yesterday, meaning that you could hit the ball, and if it's dirty, you can't clean it. So the new term has come up, mud ball. He had a perfect tee shot on 16 and could not, and it was coated with mud because there was still 5 inches of rain that had fallen, and the course just wasn't in great shape. And he had to hit his second shot with mud all over it, and he didn't know how to adjust for it. His second shot goes in the water, and he ends up double bogeying the hole. Now, Scheffler was 2 under yesterday. He's 5 shots off the lead, still within striking distance. But he's like, if this was a links course, the ball's going to bounce where it's going to bounce, and it can go forever. He goes, American golf is different, and these courses just aren't built to do that. And that's why he was frustrated. But, let's go to Quail Hollow. Should we go to Quail Hollow and get an update?
Let's do it.
515-517-2303. Joining us from the PGA Championship is our buddy, Coach Hersom. And were the mud balls that bad yesterday? And I've never heard of a mud ball before because I cheat when I play golf. I just pick up the damn ball and clean it.
It's funny. You guys got me. I'm on the Bluetooth thing or whatever.
You sound good.
It's funny. The first time I heard mud ball was when Jordan Spieth mentioned it at the Masters, and he basically said, "I'm not supposed to say this, but I'm going to." Mud balls, and then all of a sudden, it's become the most popular term in golf over the course of the last, month or whatever since the Masters, and they're using it a lot out here. So I'm marshaling on hole 14, which is the drivable par 4, and trust me, when they say it's drivable by almost everybody in the field. It's that short. Yeah, and so it's not like, when they say it's a drivable par 4, it's not like, hey, the long hitters can do this. Hell, Rory, Scotty, those they're hitting 3-wood off the tee, if that. I saw a guy with a hybrid put it on the green Tuesday. So it's a short hole, but I can tell you this course has taken a lot of rain. I mean, they did not allow people out here on Monday. Anybody, no spectators. They basically cut the volunteers. They told us as volunteers, hey, if you were going to come out and watch today, you're not allowed unless you have a shift, and your shift's most likely getting cut. And then we had a big rainstorm on Tuesday morning. And then there was another little one. It was raining a little bit yesterday morning. The course is it's beautiful. I mean, and it's taken it on, but yeah, this mud ball thing is a thing.
So I was unaware of it. I thought if you had a dirty ball that was coated in mud, you could pick it up and clean it off, because that's not a fair lie, should we say? And to learn that in PGA of America could have ruled up or down. They ruled down, and it made.
Coach, was that a mistake? I mean, again, this ruling the ball up and down, I'd never heard of this phrase before either.
So here's the thing. It's in the history. This is, I don't know what this is, the 116th PGA Championship. There has been one round, Sunday at Baltusrol in 2016. I was there, by the way. Was the only time that the PGA said you could play it up. In other words, you can lift clean in place.
That's what that means.
The only time in the history of this event. Yes, that's the only time in the history of this event, or any major for that matter, that lift clean in place went into effect. One round. Everybody's got to deal with it, and here's the thing. I mean, Xander and Rory didn't play well. Rory, I don't think, said anything about the mud ball. Xander obviously did. Scotty is just the most consistent dude out here. He dealt with that, but he just kept kept going, and he's right there. He's not, he's under par. He's 5 back. But he's, so he's like, you just deal with it. I think his response, Travis, you said he's mad. I don't know if he was mad about it. He just was pointing it out, so.
All right. You're on the 14th hole. Do you have 14th hole all weekend long then?
So you guys know me better than a lot of people. I get my volunteer shifts out of the way. I'm not a volunteer anymore. I'm a fan. I'm just here. So all I'm doing over today, tomorrow, Sunday, is watching golf.
Hold on.
I'm not working anymore.
Hold on. I forgot about this. So if you volunteer like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, you get your volunteer obligation out of the way, and then you can just watch as a fan the rest of the round, the rest of the tournament?
Yeah, I had somebody ask, like, what's the benefit of doing this? And the most I've ever paid to volunteer is the Ryder Cup upcoming at Bethpage. I paid somewhere around $370, I think.
Somewhere around $370?
A lot of people be somewhere around $370.
Dude, to go to that event, that's a tenth of what I thought it was going to be.
No, seriously, unless you got the lottery and got them for face value, which is still a lot, if you want to buy them on the secondary market, there's no way I could get into all 6 days for less than $4,500, $5,000, and I get to go to every day.
So because you volunteer at the PGA Championship, you do this every year. Did you get like bonus points to move up the volunteer ladder?
Good question.
Kind of, yeah. And I'll be honest with you. I've become pretty good friends with the guy who's his name's Jacob Wilson. He's the head of volunteer operations here. And I was like, I'm looking down the road, and he was like, here's my email. He goes, all you have to do is send it. We'll get you in. No problem. Now the Ryder Cup's a different cat. It is for sure. But because I worked 2019 at the PGA Championship, the stipulation was, hey, you show up to all your shifts, you're going to get the first email to be able to volunteer for the Ryder Cup in and at the time it was 2024, but then everything got pushed because of COVID or whatever, kicked back a year. So yeah, you do to say. So
excellent, Coach. It's always good to hear from you. We're glad you're enjoying the PGA Championship. Have fun being a spectator, and Ross and I will look forward to your random text messages throughout the day.
Yeah, sounds good. Take care, guys.
Thanks, buddy. Oh man, see, he's figured. See, a lot of us couldn't do that. He's not married. He builds his time in to be able to volunteer at such events, and that's what he looks forward to every year. It's pretty cool. But again, he's at the PGA Championship, which continues today. Rory had a bad round yesterday. He shot a 74. So we'll see what the Masters champ can turn around and do in day number 2. Scotty Scheffler's still in it. A number of golfers still in it, and a lot of golf left to play.
But no big names. I mean, you look at the leaderboard for this thing. It looks like an amateur event. I mean, I don't know. I know very, very few names before you get to Scotty Scheffler, who is only he's 2 under, and he is what do you say, 5 strokes back?
Yeah.
But he's tied for 20th. Above him, you have Adam Scott, Keegan Bradley. Dude, that's it for the names I know. In the top 20, I know 2 names.
I bet tomorrow you know more.
I mean, you would think that Scotty moves up there, things shake out a little bit, but
Bryson DeChambeau, I think, was even yesterday.
Dude, Phil was 8 over.
Yeah.
I mean, this is not what this is not what PGA wants. PGA wants their names.
Well, you got to look at Phil. I mean, after he won the U.S. Open at age 50, right? I think it's just, we got to remember with Tiger and Phil, just like, as we watch Aaron Rodgers and other aging athletes, you get old, you have to decide when it's time to get out. And I know they still want to play, and Fred Couple still plays some, but I think we as fans like to hold on to the glory days, and because he's still one of the biggest names in golf. That's the crazy thing. I mean, the old guys to us are still the biggest names in golf. I mean, Tiger didn't play the Masters, not playing the PGA Championship, but if Tiger was out there, we'd still be like, oh, is Tiger going to do it? What are the odds of Tiger? Well, the odds of Tiger winning another major are slim and none. It's probably not going to happen. But we want it to.
And listen, it's not just Phil that had a rough outing at the 8 over. Some of the best names in golf, and some of those guys that that we're familiar with, are 5 over. Jordan Spieth and Justin Rose are both 5 over. Brooks Koepka is 4 over. Rory is 3 over. Rough course and a wet course. Did you also notice the little loophole that Coach Hersom found there and kind of he weaved us through it? I'm not sure if you noticed that.
I didn't.
Okay, so they said if you're a volunteer, don't show up. If you don't have a shift, don't show up. In fact, if you have a shift, you might get cut. Don't show up. What was Coach Hersom's loophole? I'm not a volunteer anymore. I was. If you'd had this rule yesterday, I wouldn't have shown up because I was a volunteer yesterday. Today, I'm a patron.
And I got my pass. I've done my shifts.
Right.
I'm good to go.
Boy, those poor suckers that are volunteers that don't get to come to the course today.
Man.
Love it. Smart guy.
And he's been doing it long enough to go, oh, I'll volunteer on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, but then I'm done because most other volunteers are like, oh, I'm going to be on the course for the actual action. But you're stuck on one hole. You don't get to walk around with a gallery. You don't get to.
I love what Hersom does here. And that's really cool that he says the most I've spent to do this is $380 or whatever, because he does spend money. That's important. It's not a job. He's not getting paid for it. He's getting a little vacation out of it, and he's getting a huge discount on that vacation by volunteering some of his time. What does he do? Stands at a golf course. Sends us photos of Scotty Scheffler getting out of.
Hey guys, here's where I'm at. Here's where I'm at. But if you think the mud balls were a problem for the pros yesterday, you should have competed in the NAIA Women's National Championship, because this apparently was a shit show.
Dude, speaking of, Phil Mickelson actually weighed in on this. That's an odd part of this. I'm trying to get back to this story for us, Trav. And of course, now for some reason I have lost that article. Why wouldn't I have lost that article?
I'll let you find it as I kind of explained. Now, we're not talking NCAA Division I. We are talking NAIA. And to put that in perspective, that's like a school like Grandview, okay? So Grandview competes in the NAIA, and their national golf tournament is going on. And there was a little bit of a controversy, should we say, where the course actually had to apologize, Ross?
Yes. So this happened a couple years ago in Iowa. A lot of people will remember when during the state tournament, one hole was just too difficult. They put the pin placement in a spot that was way too hard to get the ball in. And
it was unplayable.
It was horrible. Girls were missing putts and they were rolling off the green. And I mean, it was just tapping balls and they were rolling off. This sort of thing played out at the NAIA National Championships over the weekend. And the course had to apologize for the way that it played out. Of the 150 golfers, I found the article here. This is incredible stats here, guys. It was the number 5 hole on at the Women's National Championship for the NAIA at Eagle Crest Golf Club in Ypsilanti, Michigan. On the 5th hole, of the 150 competitors, 90 got double bogey or worse.
Wow.
90 got double bogey or worse. 47 got bogeys. So now we're at 137 of the golfers were over par on this hole. 15 golfers got par and 3 had birdies. 18 of the 150 plus golfers got par or better.
Can you imagine those 3 that got birdies? What are you all bitching about? Wait, what are you all bitching about?
Guys, you should have put it in the cup. Were you aiming for the cup?
I played the hole just fine.
I aimed for the cup. You guys should aim for the cup.
What do you mean the course is apologizing? I birdied the hole. I was one of 3. Give me a medal. Give me a medal.
It was so the outrage from the course, from golfers, was so widespread that Phil Mickelson found out about it and actually reacted to it with a post on X, basically saying, "Man, this is a shame that these girls had to play on a course like this." And the course did issue an apology for it.
Do you think? I'm a cynic, right? And I always think people have bad intentions. I do. I think, oh, you did that on purpose. Greenskeeper goes out and goes,
they know.
Let's mess with you. Absolutely, dude, they know. They absolutely
know every inch of those greens. This is a true story. Over at Grandview Golf Course, they won't let our friend John Walling place the pins.
Because he knows, right?
Because he knows. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a couple of those greens on Grandview, dude. That's how they make that course difficult. You know what I mean? Grandview's pretty open. You can slice a ball, play another fairway up, that sort of thing. It's a great course to learn how to play on, except for putting. The greens are treacherous.
So I can imagine that person at the NAIA tournament driving his golf cart up. We're going. I got I'm going to cut the cup, and he goes, "Nobody's looking. I'm just going to mess with these people today. Let's see how good of golfers they are."
Travis, those greenskeepers know from from inch to inch. I mean, you move that cup 8 inches, they know what you're doing to that. You're making the hole much more difficult. Yeah, they knew what they were doing there. That's why they had to issue an apology and go, yeah, sorry. We thought we were just making it difficult. Turns out we made it way too difficult. We're apologize.
And the thing is, you could do that during the day, like a normal round of golf, and most people wouldn't know because it's not a tournament. So people walk up and go, man, that hole sucked.
Yeah,
right?
I was bad on that. That's what I do. Yes. When I miss putts, it's not where the cup is. It's the dude that's using the putter.
Yeah.
And I would never, I can't imagine, I'm not that astute. I'm not that smart of a golfer to look and go, oh, that's a tough pin placement. You know, I just go whack, 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 whack. Oh, what'd you get there, Ross? 9.
And I bet the 3 that got birdies were pretty lucky, meaning
yes,
their second shot got within 2 inches of the cup to where they could tap it. I'm just making that assumption.
I would assume too.
Yes. Wow. Yeah, because then my brain goes, 90 got double bogey. I'll take double bogey any day. If I play double bogey golf, I'm a happy golfer.
Now, I need to be clear here. 90 got double bogey or worse. That's what the article says. 90 got double bogey or worse.
And the problem with a national championship tournament, you can't go, just give me a snowman. Just give me a snowman. That's all I want. Give me a snowman.
So Phil Mickelson got in trouble for this. This is why Phil, this happened for Phil, and I wish Herson would remember the exact moment that this happened. Phil was involved in a situation similar to this, where he, same sort of situation. Hole was in a tough spot, couldn't get the putt to fall. I can't even remember when this was. So what Phil did in that situation was actually hit a moving putt. He hit a putt while the ball was moving. He walked up behind it and tapped it into the hole while it was rolling past. That gave him, I think, a 1 or 2 stroke penalty, but he took the penalty rather than continuing to knock the ball back and forth. And so that was why I think they grabbed Phil and were like, hey, these girls were dealing with what you dealt with, but they didn't do what you did.
Let me ask you, and we're not good golfers.
No.
But what makes golf less enjoyable? I'm going to give you 2 scenarios. Would you rather have really tough, bad greens or really high rough?
Oh, I'd much rather have the tough greens.
I'm with you because you know what? I'll just pick the damn ball up and say, give me a snowman. I'm serious. I'll be like, give it to me.
Yeah.
If you're in a bad rough, because you have no choice either just to try to whack it out where then you like rip your bicep off your bone because you can't get out of it, and you give 2 shots and then you just get so pissed off you just throw the ball out in the middle of the fairway and you're like, and that throws your mental game off.
Yeah,
I'm with you, and that's why, especially with the U.S. Open, has been notoriously known for just really treacherous rough, and I will take bad greens over a high rough any day of the week.
Yeah.
I've played Omaha Country Club before when it's getting ready for the Senior PGA Championship. Don't go out there when tournaments are going.
Dude.
And I bet if you were going to go out to where they play the Principal Charity Classic, as they get ready for tournament play.
I think it's happening at Wakanda coming up here.
Yeah. Yep. So if you were to go to Wakanda right now, I promise you the rough, the members are probably like, this sucks. We don't pay. We want to pay money to play a hard, beautiful course, but not this hard.
Have you ever golfed Wakanda?
I did once. I did.
Fun course.
I did the media thing about, 10 years ago. Came up for that.
Oh, you just brought back a memory, dude. I got to do that with Copman.
Really?
Yeah. Larry and I did that together shortly before he passed away, man. That was probably the last time I hung out with Larry. I played Wakanda with him for the media event for the Principal Charity Golf Classic.
Huh. Good memory.
A
lot of people, missed the first part of the conversation, but bringing up the course in Adel where that happened for the girls' state tournament, and that was big news where they had to basically apologize as well. At first, they defended it. Then it was like, okay. Because you had there's probably no TV highlights of the NAIA tournament, But, like 13, 5, and 8 were all at the girls' tournament because they're like, oh, it's in Adele. We can go to that today. And then you're on this hole going, oh, my God.
To your point, Trav, the only video that's on this article is the video of Phil Mickelson reacting to it.
Yeah.
So, probably right.
NAIA events are not getting much media attention.
But again, we talk about this a lot because of our connection with Grandview. They are great athletes. They are great athletes. I mean, they are just a hair underneath those D1 athletes. So we're talking about super talented golfers here. I mean, in perspective to us, these girls are fantastic golfers.
Well, and the reason Ross brings this up, because we were talking about this story before we went on the air, and he gives me a story. I'm like, if you're that good, golf Division I. I was kind of, well, I mean, come on, you're an NAIA golfer. I mean, if you're a Division I, if you're golfing at Iowa State or Iowa, you're making those putts, and you're like, shut up, dude, just shut up. I'm like, I know.
You're not good enough to bitch. Just shut up and hit the ball.
I'm being mean.
Double buggy, schmoggle buggy. Nobody cares.
Learn it. I mean, this is what the golf gods wanted. They wanted you to struggle on the course.
Yeah.
We're just getting lazy and soft at our old age for these kids today who can't get on a green and read it properly. And that's what the greenskeeper's probably doing. Can't you read the green? It's readable. It's readable.
You want to see how easy that with the greenskeepers out there? You want to see I can make this putt? Watch.
Yeah, because you know which way the grain of grass or the blade of grass is leaning to where you could nail that putt. It
is, again, that perspective of where we are talking about a golf hole in an NAIA college event, right? Here's the quote from the NAIA. We regret to confirm that an unfortunate situation occurred at the NAIA Women's Golf National Championship. It sounds like somebody got hurt.
Like, oh my God.
The hole on number 5 was incorrectly placed in a challenging position. We take this matter seriously and have taken immediate steps to ensure this type of situation will not happen again. The NAIA is committed to the student-athlete experience.
So, well, see, I have a problem with that statement. I do. And the way it's worded. When you say, because when you read that, you go, okay, the hole was placed in a challenging position.
Incorrectly placed in a challenging position.
What they should have said is an unplayable position.
There you go. There you go, Trav. Good word.
Yes, because when you hear challenging, you're like, well, this is
it's
a
national
tournament.
Championship.
You're supposed to be challenged. If you would have said unplayable, that would have said, okay, I get what you're talking about there, is that it's probably on an angle or whatever. But I hear challenging, and then you go, we're committed to the student-athlete experience. Okay, well, be challenged a little bit. But when you say unplayable, it makes a little bit more sense to me to go, okay, I would have worded it a little bit different. But that's my PR brain going in me.
The par 5 fifth hole had numerous reports of players scoring 8, 9, and 10.
That's a day at the course for me. This is why I don't have sympathy, because I'm like, oh, I've been there, man. I don't walk up to the clubhouse and go, hey, damn it, I shot a 10. And that doesn't include my mulligan and the time I threw it out, which is probably then a 13, but I'm not going to count those. Well, it wasn't the course, sir. It was probably your ability to play the game of golf.
I've done the opposite. I've gone into the Grandview clubhouse and said, guys, the greens are amazing. They're impossible. They're so much fun.
515-517-2303. We got an hour in the books. We got an hour to go. Jamie Pollard, athletic director at Iowa State, going to be joining us at 7:30 on the Rush Radio Show at therushradio.com.
The sun's out and the deals are hot. It's time to spring into savings at Willis Chevrolet of Granger. We're your small-town, family-owned Chevy store. Drive home a new Silverado 1500 with 2.9 APR for 72 months. Get 1.9 APR on the dependable Chevy Equinox, or take on any adventure in a rugged new Colorado with $1,000 total cash allowance. Think electric? Step into the future with the all-new Equinox EV and enjoy $7,500 in potential federal tax credits. Stop in today or visit us online at willischevy.com.
I'm loving these wooden nickels, Brian.
Yeah, I suppose everyone is catching on.
Just spend $20 to get a wooden nickel.
It's 25.
Collect 10 and add up the savings on your next purchase.
Some of these are worth $5. That could be huge.
I know, right? That's why you have to spend $20.
It's 25.
Collect 10. It's like money back to you.
Spend 20, you get another wooden nickel.
It's 25.
Collect 10 and add up the savings. It's huge.
Central City Liquor is home of the 10% cash coupon.
And the wooden nickel program.
It's huge.
With over 260 beers on tap, El Bait Shop isn't just another craft beer bar. It's the best. Beer lovers know. El Bait Shop, 200 Southwest 2nd, Des Moines.
There's a new spin on casual dining near Drake University. Lucky Horse Beer and Burgers. Craveable faves, flatbreads, delicious burgers, frozen cocktails, and a crazy cool vibe. Get to Lucky Horse Beer and Burgers today.
Are you thinking about buying a home this year? Start by getting pre-approved with Gary Presnall at Northwest Bank in Des Moines to see how much you can qualify for and what loan programs meet your needs. Gary can get you pre-approved in 30 minutes or less with a pre-approval letter to you. Gary offers first-time homebuyers programs, VA loans along with FHA, IFA, and conventional loans. Call Gary at 515-975-6767 or find his profile at nw.bank. Member FDIC Equal Housing Lender.
Spring is here. It's pothole season. Potholes can wreak havoc on your suspension and alignment. If you come into Willis Chevrolet during the month of May and mention this video, we'll check your alignment for free and give you $30 off if you need one. Give us a call or schedule online today at willischevy.com.
The best bread is made from scratch, freshly baked with locally sourced ingredients and love. At Big Sky Bakery, we take great pride in our delicious products. We know you'll enjoy them almost as much as we enjoy baking them. Find us at the downtown Des Moines Farmers Market every Saturday.
Back to the Rush. Strong opinions, weak filters, and just enough sense to stay on the air. It's the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive.
Hour number 2 of the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive. Happy Friday, everybody. We're happy you tuned in to spend your morning with us. If you're listening on the audio stream at therushradio.com or on the Android app, thank you for bringing us onto your radios. If you're watching on YouTube this morning, make sure to give this channel a subscription, give the video a like, and you can follow along on the comment section, which is fun to watch everybody have a little community here. That's what it's, the Rush community. That community expands to other social media channels like X. Follow us at Rush Mornings. Search The Rush with Travis and Ross on Facebook and The Rush Radio Show on Instagram. Coming up at 7:30, we have Jamie Pollard, athletic director at Iowa State, going to be joining us. That'll be a fun conversation. About a half hour with Jamie, so we've got our questions ready. Lots of questions.
There's so much. Like, we could have a 2-hour conversation with Jamie, and maybe he wouldn't want to at this point because, again, he's been doing the podcast circuit a little bit, and it's got to, at some point, it has to be
exhausting.
That's the right word for it, dude. Like, I'm explaining this. The situation isn't great. We're trying to get out of it. Talking about it isn't helping it. Maybe talking about it is helping it. I don't know.
Well, I'm sure the hard part is the wait and see game because the House settlement still hasn't been settled.
Yeah.
And we're expecting it any day. It could be rejected. It could be accepted. I think at this point it's going to be hard to reject it because I think even the judge knows if it's not perfect in her mind, you have to make some kind of decision going forward or it's going to be chaos heading into the summer. And the last thing you want is chaos when you're talking about the number of institutions that we're talking about. But again, Jamie Pollard at 7:30. If you want to go to see Shane Gillis at Wells Fargo Arena on May 31st, go to therushradio.com, click on the promotions tab, fill out your name, give us your email, telephone number. You're going to be automatically entered to win a pair of suite tickets. You're going to sit in the Choice Creative and Community Choice Credit Union suite, and you'll sit next to Ross Peterson. That's what you'll do. And me.
Around.
Yeah.
Probably only one person gets this next to me.
And here's what we're going to do. We'll buy you a beer.
Travis is buying everybody beer. All right.
Yeah, because it's free in the suite. I'll go to the fridge and I'll pick one out for you. I go, hey, you want Busch Light? You want Budweiser? What do you want? I'll buy. Oh, it's free. And the food's free too. So you're going to enjoy Shane Gillis. Hey, have you heard this story about Jared Shaw? Do you know who Jared Shaw is?
No.
Jared Shaw is 32 years old. He played college basketball at Oklahoma State, pretty good player, went on to play at Utah State. Not good enough to play in the NBA, so he does what a lot of basketball players do, and you go overseas and play. So he's been an overseas player where you can make really good money and save it up. Well, his latest basketball stint has put him in Indonesia. Okay, he's been in Indonesia the last couple of seasons. Well, Jared Shaw was arrested by Indonesian police because a suspicious package came to Jared Shaw through the airport from Thailand. And the airport alerted authorities that there was a suspicious package that was sent to Jared Shaw's apartment. Police show up at Jared Shaw's apartment, find said package with cannabis candies in it. Now, when we hear cannabis candies, I'm thinking, oh, you got some gummies. Good for you. Here in the United States, that's not a problem. In Indonesia, that is a problem, and it is a big problem. He was arrested, and you know, everybody complains. You have a certain sector of people who complain about the justice system in the United States. They put him like in an orange shirt. They put a mask on him, tie his hands behind his back, and they bring him out for the press conference. I mean, they make him sit there as they're talking about him. Ross, gummies or candies with cannabis on them, because Indonesia is a non-tolerant drug country, brings a sentence of life in prison or the death penalty. The majority of people on Indonesian death row right now are for drug-related activities. And cannabis, candies,
what?
The life in prison or death penalty sentence. They asked, what are you doing with said gummies? It wasn't, now when you hear plan to distribute, you're thinking a dealer, right? They go, what'd you bring the gummies in for? I just thought my teammates would want some gummies. He was just going to give them to his teammates. And then he's automatically released by the Indonesian club that he plays for. And their statement says, there is no tolerance for drug users on our team, and there's no tolerance for drugs in basketball. And then I want to go, heard of the NBA? Have you heard of the NBA? Just curious.
There's no room for drug use in basketball, says the Indonesian basketball league.
Yes. Well, we're glad you're the moral authority on this, but I think 92% of the NBA players smoke weed.
Remember when we used to air those commercials for all those horrible podcasts that nobody would ever want to listen to? And one of them was, oh, we got a Filipino basketball podcast.
Yes.
You're going to want to listen to this podcast about Filipino basketball. And there was the one guy who's like, whenever people think about the Philippines, they think about two things, boxing and basketball. I was like, no, they don't. No, they don't. No, never have. That commercial would air every morning. Make sure you tune in to the Basketball in Philippines podcast.
Yes. And iHeart used to do that all the time, right? From the Ron Burgundy podcast.
Oh, Jesus.
To the
Guys on Guys, or what was the one with the Dudes on Dudes?
Dudes on Dudes.
Go to your Google machine and Google Dudes on Dudes.
No, don't do that. Don't do that.
No, I'm not doing that. Quit telling me to Google Dudes on Dudes. I don't know, Jules. We'll find out in the next episode, Jules.
Oh, yeah, but that cost Ross his job because they were spending money on,
I tried from the minute we started that. I'm like, wait a minute. During our show, you're going to tell people to turn off our show and listen to other things? Yeah. This is good for the business, Ross. It's good for the business.
Is it? Oh, but
Dude, Google dudes on dudes.
If I do that based on my search history anyway, it's not going to end well.
Yeah, I expect the Indonesian police to show up with and say,
But back to this Jared Shaw. I mean, come on. And this is where you have to be aware
yes,
of what the when you're not in America, man. The tolerance is gonna. I don't want him to get life in prison. I sure as hell don't want him to get the death penalty. But when you go play for these other countries, you have to understand what the laws
Travis,
are and don't mess.
He knows the Brittany Griner story.
Yes,
you're not a person who follows sports that doesn't know the Brittany Griner story. You're certainly not a basketball player playing international basketball that doesn't know this. And if you are, that's really dumb. That's really, really dumb. If you were that oblivious to it, I didn't know that there was that heavy of a penalty in Indonesia for weed.
And it's not even weed. It was candy. It was cannabis, which is I know what you mean by weed.
Yeah, but
it's like I got my gummy bears coming, and I'm going to prison for life
or death, dude.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Is this something where the government should stay? Governments have to be careful here, right?
Yeah, right, right. You can't overplay your political hand here.
Yes. But
this is the shitty part of this. Jared Shaw's not Brittany Griner.
Not even close.
And Brittany Griner was truly a political prisoner. Brittany Griner, I mean, she broke the law, but that was Putin sending a message to America. This is not that. So I think because the Brittany Griner thing started as a political movement, it was all political motivated. You could use politics to get her back. This has nothing to do with politics. President Trump calls over there and says, hey, we really want Jared Shaw back. They're going to go, tough titty. Dude broke our rules. You're lucky we're not caning him. Remember when that happened to the young man who did the graffiti?
Yep.
Man.
Now, I don't want him to get life in prison because it's not worth life. And I sure as hell don't want him to get the death penalty.
Getting gummies, dude.
But, an agent, everybody should say, when you go over to play overseas, you have to understand the rules and the laws of the country because some are going to be less tolerant and they're going to be strict. And when Indonesia says we are a non-drug country, they mean it. They absolutely mean it.
FAFO, dude. What does zero tolerance mean? We'll find out.
Can you imagine sitting in that jail cell right now going, this over some gummy bears coated with cannabis?
No, I can't. No. What?
And he got him from Thailand, where Thailand used to be a zero tolerance country, but they have since said, we're going to waive that. They are now tolerant to the cannabis.
That's a sad deal. I'd never heard of Jared Shaw.
Yeah. And now you have, not for his playing ability. And what do they say? Never send drugs through like the air and postal service.
I mean, I don't, dude, I'll let Rev weigh in on this. I have no idea. I've never had drugs delivered from my postman.
No, you usually go down on the corner, and
I'm an East Sider. I know. I listen.
I was watching Righteous Gemstones last night, and Walter Goggins is just such a funny dude.
He was on SNL. He was the host on SNL this weekend. It was good.
He plays Baby Billy, and it's one of the greatest characters maybe in television history. And he's making this movie called Teengus. And he decided to be the actor. He goes, so he has to go back to the Gemstones and ask for some money. He goes, I need some money. I need $2 million. I'm making Teengus. He goes, oh, and I need some cocaine. So all I'm asking for is an 8-ball and $2 million.
Ain't much.
Oh God! Have you watched The Righteous Gemstones?
Yeah,
at
I've
all?
seen a couple episodes. I have
Yeah.
not stayed up on it, but it is a funny show.
The thing about his character in that, in like season 1, he was killed off, but people liked him so much. In season 2, he just reappeared and nobody even explained. He just came back.
That SNL this weekend, he was the guest host. It was really good. Yeah, he's a funny guy, talented dude.
Well, and he's been part of that group with what's his name, because he was in Vice Principals, and so he's been with
Danny McBride.
Yeah, Danny McBride for a while. But it's kind of fun to see them get their like accolades in their due as they're older in life. I mean, I think there's a lot of people going, "Who's this Walter Goggins dude?" Oh, go back and watch some of his stuff. He's funny, really, really funny. But yeah, hey, the WNBA season kicks off this weekend, and the Indiana Fever are going to be in action tomorrow, a 2:00 game on ESPN against Chicago. Do you think that was tailor-made for the first weekend of the WNBA?
No. Who plays for Chicago? I know one player. I know one player on the Chicago team. Guess who it is? Oh, do you really?
Yeah.
Who's the other one? Angel
Haley
Reese?
Van Lith.
Oh, I didn't realize she was on that. I did know that because when she got drafted, that was like one of the stories of like, oh, she hates being with Angel Reese. And it was like, no, in fact, this is why they drafted her, because they like each other. So I did know that, I guess. That'll be fun.
It's interesting because the WNBA commissioner was on a podcast and she finally said it. You know, last year, I thought they kind of tiptoed around the Caitlin Clark thing. They knew the impact that she made, but they didn't want to like piss off other WNBA players and show favoritism. Finally, on this podcast, Kathy Engelbert, I think is her name, the WNBA commissioner, finally just came out and said, Caitlin Clark's the most popular athlete in America. There's no question about it. He goes, and she actually went on to say her and Adam Silver actually talk about it. And when you look at the grand scheme of things, Caitlin Clark is the most popular athlete in America. I'm happy that you have a commissioner finally come out and acknowledge what everybody has been saying for a long time, right? Is that you can't deny it. But she did say, you know, there's a fine line here because she's brought tens of millions of people to the WNBA. I'm not saying they watch on a regular basis, but they're like, you know, just look at what happened to Juju Watkins in the NCAA tournament. If that were to happen to Caitlin Clark, what happens to the rest if she were to miss a season?
Do you want me to answer that question for you? Because I can't.
Okay, yes.
It goes back to what it was. There's a slight uptick from pre-Caitlin Clark. You'll hold on to a few of the fans. You've grabbed onto some, and some people enjoy it, and they're going to watch it because they like the product. The overwhelming majority are watching for one person. And if that one person is gone, you have shot the golden goose. That's the answer. If you want to know, I mean, like this thing of, I saw the other day that Iowa elected its first Latina woman to the state Congress. And that Shane Gillis bit went through my head where Alabama integrated their football team in 1976. And he says, little late for high fives on this one, isn't it, boys? Like, I saw this, Iowa elects its first Latina woman. I'm going, it's 2025. Little late for high fives on this one, boys. The WNBA commissioner comes out a year after this incredible impact. The entire sport has been changed. Women's basketball is in a completely different stratosphere than it ever was. And it took her a year to come out and go, hey, you know what? That thing that everybody's been saying that I've been denying this whole time, I've been trying to prop up all these other people who failed at doing what Caitlin Clark has done in one season. Oh, yeah. My response to that is too late for high fives on this one. Glad you've joined the rest of the conscious world in recognizing Caitlin Clark's impact. Now, undo some of the stuff you've done. Unsay some of the things you've said. Unring some of the bells you've rang that talked about how she's just another player. No, she's no more special than anybody else. Okay. How did golf treat Tiger Woods? How did Adam Silver, or not Adam Silver at the time? I'm sorry. David Stern? How did David Stern treat Michael Jordan? Did they treat him different? Damn right. Damn right.
Same with Bird Magic. Right?
Exactly. Acknowledged it and pushed it and said, hey, we got something special here. We got something special here. They didn't continue to say, hey, everybody, you should watch Byron Scott. How come you guys aren't watching Byron Scott play guard for the Lakers? Because he's not Michael Jordan. Oh, you guys just don't know basketball.
And I would say this, and I don't know, and I'm making an assumption here. This is just my opinion. Because of the newness and the rookie, I think I'm going to say there's some jealousy here against other players where Bird and Magic were smart enough to go, oh, it's Michael's show. We still want to beat Michael. We still want to compete, but let's just let him take the reins here because I thought Bird Magic were pretty good at that. I don't know if you've had other players in the WNBA who want to just say, all right, we want to win. We want to compete. We'll be the best we can, but it's her show. Right. And
there were a few that did that, but there were way more that stood in the way.
Yes.
There were way more that did the look at me. Wait a minute. What? I did that. Sue Bird. Wait. How come I didn't get love like this? Because it's just fairs in August.
And it's just somebody that's just more marketable. And she's the total package. I don't know what it is. I wish I could put you can't put a finger on one
Travis,
thing.
It's not sex.
No.
She's a cute girl. I'm not trying to but she doesn't sell sex in any way. So it's not that. It's not the old that used to be the adage of like, the women and the bun huggers, they'll get the guys to watch the volleyball. How come you guys watch women's sports, you perverts? Has nothing to do with that. Nothing.
So Caitlin, 2:00 tomorrow on ABC against Chicago. I'll watch it just because I'm interested in the Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark thing. The Fever is 7.5-point favorite. Before we take a break, I do want to bring this up. Did you hear what Dan Gilbert did for the Cleveland Cavaliers?
No.
He thought he would go full showboat for the playoffs because Cleveland was the number 1 seed in the East. And they were known throughout the season as going on long scoring streaks where they just go on big. So he went ahead and invested $500,000 to put fake snow machines inside the arena. So when they went on a long scoring run, they could then call a cavalanche. See what I did there? Cavalanche. $500,000 for fake snow machines. Do you know how many times those fake snow machines were used during the playoffs?
Tell me. 0.
Once. I credit him for trying. It's kind of a gimmicky, cute, but then you go, I spent $500. And this is one of those, if it works, it's awesome. If it doesn't work, people go, man, how are you spending your money? $500,000.
If it works. I wonder what working looked like.
Well, I mean, if you're using it more, let's say you have, hey, it's time for a cavalanche, and you're dropping snow, gets the fans in it, you're kicking ass, you're getting to the finals. Snow ready to go. Can you imagine Dan Gilbert going every night? Snow ready to go tonight? We got snow ready? All right. What do we do with the snow because we didn't get to use it?
That's wild. No, I didn't know that. But boy, the places my brain went when you said Dan Gilbert. You see what Dan Gilbert did? I went, oh boy, here we go. Buckle up.
No, not Jim Irsay. We're talking to There's probably now some ski areas. Mount Crescent over in Crescent, Iowa, calling, hey, we'll take those snow machines. Ours are getting old over here. Wonder how many snow machines you put in.
Yeah, lots of questions. Indoor, it's not a good idea. I'll tell you that. That's my first comment is people with money.
My thing is, if you put the snow machines, you probably have to put them up high, right?
Yeah.
By the time you launch said snow,
does it melt?
Isn't it rain by the time it hits the
drizzling on the?
Why is it raining inside the arena?
It's another Cleveland drizzle.
I wish we could have a list of like all-time failed like gimmicks like this. Like what has been tried inside arenas that just was not good. And I'm going to say the The snow machines might be one of them that I've heard of. But hey, we got this great idea.
Travis, did you know that fake snow is the only reason that It's a Wonderful Life ever won any awards? It's a Wonderful Life is one of the strangest stories of its pop culture rise. When the movie was launched, it was an absolute failure. Absolute failure. Nobody watched it. It was panned. It won one award. And special effects. It was the first Hollywood film to use to perfect the fake snow. Before It's a Wonderful Life came out, they used crushed frosted flakes. They would grind up frosted flakes and drop those through a machine. That's how they did fake snow in Hollywood. But what would happen is once they got done shooting, all of the deers and rodents and varmint would come off the mountain and take over the sets because it was all sugar laying there. So a guy created fake snow for It's a Wonderful Life, and that was the award that it won. The only reason that we know It's a Wonderful Life is because of a clerical error. It became part of public domain in the 70s, right as Turner was launching 24-hour broadcast stations. He wanted to have something to be able to play around Christmas time and found It's a Wonderful Life in the public domain and was able to play it for free. That's why It's a Wonderful Life is such a part of our culture today. A clerical error.
Wow. Hey, just to let you know, I don't know if you noticed, I'm having a little internet problem again. Same time as yesterday.
Saw that. Sorry.
No. So if it happens during Jamie's interview, you are still good. Just ignore me, and I'll pop back at some point. So,
Will do, and I'll let Jamie know what's happening.
515-517-2303. Expecting Jamie Pollard to join us next on the Rush Radio Show at therushradio.com.
Spring is here, and so are spring pests. Whether it's birds in your dryer vent, raccoons in your chimney, squirrels in your soffit, ants in your kitchen, or bats in your attic, with over 20 years of experience, Bats and Bugs Pest Solutions can help. Call us today at 515-218-3400 to schedule your inspection and see how Bats and Bugs can help prevent your home from becoming their home.
The Royal Mile, where everyone's a wee bit British. The Royal Mile is downtown Des Moines' living room with classic pub favourites. Pair them with a glass of whiskey or an expertly poured Guinness. It's bloody brilliant. The Royal Mile, a proper British pub.
Fong's Pizza has moved to 317 East Court in the East Village and is ready for good weather with an expanded menu and a patio that is ready for pals, pints, and pizza. Fall in love all over again with the new Fong's in the East Village.
Thinking about buying a home? Get pre-approved in 30 minutes with Gary Presnell at Northwest Bank in Des Moines. Gary offers first-time home buyers programs, VA, FHA, IFA, and conventional loans. Call Gary at 515-975-6767 or find his profile at nw.bank. Member FDIC Equal Housing Lender.
You know, Brian, at Central City, we really do have the best selection around.
I know. High quality stuff you can't find anywhere else.
Whistle Pig Plantation Rum.
Yeah, and over 150 of the best scotches on earth.
And a ton of bitters, mixers, and more.
You know what we are? High class.
Definitely high class, yeah.
Make way for the natty.
Okay, maybe medium class.
Central City Liquors, home of the 10% cash coupon.
And the wooden nickel program.
Hey everybody, this is Mason Miller, sales manager out here at Willis Infinity. We got some great stuff going on this month. Right now, you can get up to $4,000 off on a new QX80 and enjoy 2.9% for 60 months. On top of that, this month, you can enjoy 1.9% out to 60 months, an additional $1,000 off of the new QX60. For more information, stop at our showroom or visit us online at willisinfinity.com.
There's a new spin on casual dining near Drake University. Lucky Horse Beer and Burgers. Craveable faves, flatbreads, delicious burgers, frozen cocktails, and a crazy cool vibe. Get to Lucky Horse Beer and Burgers today.
The best bread is made from scratch, freshly baked with locally sourced ingredients and love. At Big Sky Bakery, we take great pride in our delicious products. We know you'll enjoy them almost as much as we enjoy baking them. Find us at the downtown Des Moines Farmers Market every Saturday.
Back like a rash you thought was gone. Travis and Ross aren't contagious, but they are addictive. It's the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive.
Welcome back to the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive. Ross, 114 days from today. You know what 114 days from today is?
I'm going to guess that's when Iowa State is playing in Ireland.
That is correct. 114 days. So we thought at the 114-day mark, why not bring in the athletics director at Iowa State, and that's Jamie Pollard. Good morning, sir. How you doing?
Good. Great to see you guys. Been a while.
Good to see you, Jamie.
I'm doing good. No complaints.
I was just going to say, are you doing good? Because, man, it seems like there's a lot of changes and weird stuff happening in your world right now. But you're doing good with it?
You know what? There is, and you can, freak out over all that, or you can just keep your head down and try to push through it. And that's what I've chosen to do.
Jamie, we're waiting on the House settlement to come through. And Ross and I have spent a lot of time talking about the House settlement. How frustrating. I mean, you guys started planning for this a year ago, and here we are almost to June, and it still hasn't been decided. You got roster caps, you've got NIL, all this stuff. I mean, you're an accountant by trade. I mean, when you start planning for this and trying to figure it out, how frustrating it is not for you to be where we are right now.
I'm not frustrated by it. I mean, hey, I'm 60 years old. I've watched the bureaucracy of our country. We're very efficient at everything we do, right? Yeah. So I've long stopped losing hair over and frustration over things I can't control. It'll happen. It'll happen on its time, and I anticipate it will happen. So we're planning for it.
Do you get any indication when it's going? They say it could be the next couple of days or so, but I mean, do you think she'll accept what you guys what they put out there for roster caps, and do you think it's going to happen in the next couple of days?
My guess is it will get accepted. When, I haven't really spent a lot of time thinking about it. I mean, quite frankly, I've always lived my life of just tell me what the rules are, and then we'll go figure out how to work with those rules. And a lot of people spend a lot of time, fretting over what are the rules going to be. And I've just never been one of those people because I don't, no one's calling Jamie Pollard and asking me what I think about all this. You guys are, but
yeah, right.
But the judge has never called me. So I'll wait to have her tell us what it's going to be, and then we'll move forward because it's just life's too short to spend time worrying about stuff I don't have any control over.
Well, that might answer one of my questions, because I was going to ask you kind of that magic wand thing. And maybe you haven't really spent a lot of time thinking about this, Jamie. If you're kind of in that mode, if you got to wait to find out what the rules are going to be. But if I gave you that magic wand and said, man, Jamie, how do we get out of this? It seems like right now a lot of people are confused. Nobody knows what the way forward is. Nobody knows what college athletics is going to look like in 5 or 10 years. If I gave you that magic wand and said we can either go backwards or move forward, what does that look like?
I would go backwards, but not what most people would think when I say that. Is I'd go backwards and have restructured this all a long time ago, because that's our problem. We're not fixing the problem. We're prolonging the inevitable because we're not fixing the problem. The problem is you cannot put a professional model over the top of college sports, but then want to run it like college sports. I mean, the NFL has one commissioner. There's not 4. There's not 8, right? And can you imagine if the Packers, Bears, Vikings, and Lions had a commissioner, and the Cowboys, Redskins, Giants, who else is in that division, had a commissioner? Mm-hmm. And they were all doing their own television deals and all trying to get their own, so our structure is not correct. I saw something where, and I'm not going to have the dates 100% correct, but there was a time that college football had a bigger television deal than the NFL.
Really?
Yeah. Now, I've heard it in the history, because I've seen the presentation, and all the pro leagues went one way and college went the other way. And now we're not even close to those television deals. And so you have to ask yourself why is that way? And the biggest glaring deal is how we're set up. We're set up that we don't pool our rights. We make a rule, and before the rule is codified, we're already figuring out how to get around the rule.
Yeah.
And it's absolute ludicrous. And so the inevitable is coming. The inevitable has started. You've seen shrinkage, because you can't. Every day I pick up the paper or see a post. Another institution is in debt X $1 million. Yesterday it was UCLA, $256 million. They lost $52 million last year in athletics, and they haven't even begun revenue share. Are not sustainable. They just aren't. At some point, the states legislators are going to say, that's it. Right.
So, you bring up something, football has always been separate from the NCAA, right? I mean, they work under. Do you think if you could wave a magic wand, football would be better off under the whole umbrella, or is it better off the way it is and maybe eventually go to one commissioner? Or where would this
football? If I could go back using what you said, take the magic wand and go back in time, and I keep preferencing that because I know how this works, right?
Yeah.
The takeaway from somebody listening to this is, Pollard doesn't get it. He just wants to go back to the way it was. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is I would use the magic wand to go back in time and say we should have figured this out a long time ago, that our structure isn't correct, and you could have federated football on a national level and set it up that you could keep all the conferences. The conferences wouldn't have had this rush then to be nationalized. They could have stayed regionalized.
Yeah.
All the other sports would be just fine regionalized, because basketball can be regionalized and still play nationalized. But football should have been nationalized, and there should have been one commissioner running it. There should be one television. I just laugh when I hear,
incredible,
and I'm not picking on the SEC or the Big Ten when I say this, but I saw somebody say this, like, well, it's going to be good. It'll be just like the NFL. If the SEC gets 4 automatics, then they can have play-in games later in the year. So and I saw this, like a 500 team in the SEC would still have a chance that last week to play in, because that's what the NFL does, right? Well, that sounds really good, right? Because the NFL is very successful. But what you're saying is, well, we want to do this, but then we only want to do it for these 16 teams while they're competing against the other 64 teams. No, that works if you say, here's the model, and it's everybody. You can't just say, well, we're going to do the NFL model, but we're going to do it for 40% of college football. It's ludicrous. But that's what we continue to do because we've got self-interest. And until, the presidents haven't shown any ability to contain that. And so I don't know what it will take. Maybe it'll take Donald Trump's presidential commission, because the presidents haven't gotten it right.
Listen to you, Jamie.
Wow.
We had, you see a lot of these coaches who are a little bit older getting out. We had Greg McDermott on last week, and he's selling off into the sunset in the next year or two. How about from an athletic director standpoint? Do you ever go, man, I'm 60 years old. I don't know if I want to do this and deal with this anymore?
Every day.
That's a serious answer.
That's a serious answer too. That's stone cold right there, man.
But then I'm reminded, I never used to have it this way, but, I'm macroizing this a little, if that's a word. But, 1 minute I'm feeling that, and then the other minute I get something that reminds me that, 90% of our student athletes, this doesn't even matter to them.
Yeah.
Right. And so you're continually pulled. I walk out of my office and I see the elevator towers going up for McFarland Clinic. And I think, wow, this is going to be so cool, Sci-Town, because you can actually feel it now because you see how big the one building's going to be. And there's going to be 8 of those buildings, right? And you start to go, wow, I mean, 2 more years, all this will be built out. And I'm going, yeah, but then I got 2 times 365 times 24 hours of feeling exactly what you just said, like every other minute. So that part isn't as enjoyable as it used to be. Because it used to not have as many of those feelings. You had those feelings every so often, but now you get them like all the time.
I was up there 2 weeks ago. I was at the Alumni Center for a wedding, and I got to see where the construction starting. And I'm just looking out going, my wife went to Iowa State. She lived in Turner Hall over, and we were just sitting there going, how much it's changed. It looks phenomenal. And you're right. You could just see what that's going to be and the way that's going to change in between Hilton and Jack Trice. It's an incredible vision. Now the big question is, how do you fill it all up? Are you getting a lot of demand because you got goldenrod?
We're in a really good spot, and it just, these things take longer. I mean, it's been a eye-opening is not the right word. It's been a learning process for me because this isn't an area that's not what I grew up working on, right? So, but we've got people that are working with us that's what they do for a living, and Zach Weigert, who is, he lives in Omaha, or at least part of the time. But his company, Goldenrod is out of Omaha, and they're the lead developer on it. We just met with them again this week, and they continue to be very bullish. But it's a process that works at its pace, not at our pace. But the pace is moving really well, and they're excited, and they'll probably break ground on their portion of it a year from now, because they've still got they just selected their architect. They've got to select contractors. They got to cost everything out. I mean, we've got a list of about 300 different entities that want to be in the space, but there's a lot of people that want to be on the list, but until you tell them what it's going to truly cost, and you can't tell them that until you've selected a contractor, they've costed out the building, and then you figure out what the rental rates are going to be based on that. And all that stuff takes time, right?
The pro forma means everything. The pro forma means everything.
Correct. I've said to Zach, they've done an awesome job for us, but he's going to earn his keep in the next 18 months, because now it's like, it was one thing to have a game plan. It's another to actually start the game.
Yesterday we were talking about, and I want to bring this up before we move on to other things, but we were talking yesterday about Deloitte and the clearinghouse for fair market value when it comes to NIL, part of the House settlement. As you shake your head, because we're like, who determines fair market value? How come publicly traded companies are exempt from the Deloitte clearinghouse?
Oh, no. I don't know.
Gosh.
The 4 commissioners are the ones brokering this deal. So, I mean, I've been on so many calls, and I feel like Charlie Brown. Wah, 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 wah. Just get me to the end and just tell me what it's going to be. And they keep saying it's going to be this, but I'll believe it when I see it, because we've shown absolutely no history of policing ourselves.
Is that leadership? Is that bad leadership?
Man.
It's the structure.
Yeah.
It's the structure.
Jamie, I'm reminded of this thing you said in 2020, and I repeat it often. Sometimes we find out who's in charge of what. And I think that's what we're experiencing here. Who's in charge? Well, it's 4 people. Your analogy to the NFL imagine if the NFC East and the NFC North all had different commissioners and were brokering different television deals. That'd be chaos, right? Yeah, that's what we're dealing with. That's the world we're in.
And then think if the NFL was set up as that the Packers division is guaranteed 2 spots.
Yeah.
And then, and because of that, the Packers division is going to play 2 less games. And he who has the gold makes the rules. And so until we get that figured out, all we're doing is prolonging the inevitable.
Yeah.
And so I don't, the structure with Deloitte. I mean, we've created another entity, and now we've hired Deloitte, and we've hired the NBA's cap management. We're spending a lot of money, so a lot of other people are going to make money on college athletics here. And if this doesn't work, and I've heard people say, well, it's got to work, right? I've heard people at schools say it's got to work. The cap has got to be the cap. And then I talk to my multimedia rights partner, and I find out that same school is already scheming how to get around the cap.
Yeah.
And you're just going this is ludicrous.
Who pays for Deloitte? So when they go, hey,
the four conferences.
Okay, so I didn't know if you were on the hook, like if they did an individual Iowa State player. Hey, Iowa State's going to get the bill from Deloitte.
Yeah, we're paying for all the infrastructure. The four conferences are. I mean, we've got a really good industry. I mean, if there are so many people that just have to go, don't fix it, because we'll continue to make so much money off of this industry. I mean, if I was an agent right now, I'd just be going keep doing what you're doing, guys.
Yes.
We love it.
Yeah. Cash and checks, man. Can we have some fun? Can we move on to Ireland?
But you can't. But but if you think about it, you're going, okay, it's set up in a way as who's gonna say I mean, you can say on a micro level, which school is gonna say they're out first, right? So you can see what's happening, because Iowa State's no different. If you listen to my podcast that I did with that student, who actually was really good because he knew nothing about athletics, and that's why I chose to do it with him. Because he came to the table with no preconceived notion. He didn't know one thing about athletics, but he was smart enough to ask questions that just led to, a fair, just kind of account of it, because he didn't come into it and that's not a fault of anybody, but it was just refreshing, right? But why I say that is, what school is going to raise their hand and say we're out? So Iowa State's no different. We're not going to say we're out, but we're going to have to make some decisions to stay in the game until the music stops, right? And when the music stops, we're all hoping there's going to be cheers for us. But if there's not, then, we won't all be we'll all go out at the same time. Instead of some people going, gosh, to stay in the game, I'm going to have to spend university money to do this. But every day I pick up news articles showing how much universities have put in to stay in the game. And so what makes that difficult is then on the macro level, because you got four people in charge, if I've got 16 schools that I think probably all are going to make it when the music stops, then why would I want this madness to stop?
Yeah.
Right? So there's no incentive for everybody to work together. There just isn't. They say there is, but there really isn't.
Man. To me, it's all gonna. I don't know if it's gonna work itself out, but it's like the chaos. The wheel, the hamster wheel just keeps spinning around and around. It's crazy.
There'll be a correction at some point in time. What I can't tell you is what the correction will look like, right? But there'll have to be a correction, but I don't know what that correction. The correction could be that there's only 20 schools that are able to do this ludicrousy, and the rest will figure out a new model that we'll all accept and be fine with. It could be that, people just start falling by the wayside. And, I worry about that, because you can't have Rutgers $400 million in debt, UCLA 250. Those numbers, there's no
not sustainable.
It's not sustainable.
No,
it's just not.
Jamie, you've mentioned a few times, the inevitable.
Yep.
What is that worst case scenario?
Well, it's hard to even paint that, because then,
I don't want you to put ideas in people's heads, and then it turns into Jamie Pollard thinks doom and gloom. So,
we've seen contraction, and I anticipate you'll see more contraction, just because people aren't going to be able to fund these different. The gap's just too big, right? At some point, there'll be enough contraction that you'd like to think there'll be enough people being left behind that they'll coalesce around something to go forward, right? Because college athletics is still really viable and really a good thing. But too many people are chasing a pot of gold that is a fallacy. And so maybe there needs to be a new model and different pots of gold to chase, right?
Yeah.
Maybe there is, we're used to Division 1, 2, and 3. Most people know what Division 3 is. Most of us used to know what Division 1 was, and probably a lot of people didn't know what really Division 2 was, right? Depending on what part of the country you're in. But maybe Division 1, maybe there needs to be Division 0 and Division 1 or something, but it's going to be really hard to get there when you've got 4 people highly paid to try to stay in the game.
We are 114 days away from Ireland, and I think that is sold pretty good. Are you looking forward to Ireland?
No, those are the good days, right? Because then I go, we've got over 10,000 people that have signed up to go to Ireland. K-State's got 10,000 people. The folks in Ireland have, they said, we're selling out all the other seats in the stadium. So there'll be 50,000 people at that game. It's going to be a really neat experience for Iowa Staters and K-Staters.
Can you explain just, go ahead, Travis.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was going to ask about the financial side of this. You're an accountant, Jamie, and this stuff matters. We're talking about money. Yep. What is the financial impact of having the team play this game in Ireland?
Well, it's K-State's home game, so I can't really speak to their side of the deal because, that was part of, we didn't have a home game to give up. So we had to find somebody. We wanted to do the game, but we had to find somebody that was willing to give up a home game. So K-State's got a different deal than us, and I don't know what their deal is, but they should have a different deal because they
that makes sense.
So in our case, it really was to cover expenses, yet we knew we would have more expenses than just our expenses because it's a pretty big Iowa State event. I mean, there's people going that typically wouldn't go to a road game, right? There's a whole bunch of people from the foundation and the presidents because there's going to be events. So, and then we're taking the band. And, anytime we take the band on an away trip, that's an expense, but this is going to be a little bit more than now we're taking a smaller band. Both K-State and Iowa State agreed to take the same size bands. But, it's probably net maybe $500,000 more than we would have spent had we just gone to K-State and not taken our band. And the band would have went on a different trip someplace. Yeah. So to us, that's worth it because of the experience that will happen over there. And it may not be that much either, but it's, I'm just kind of projecting based on some of,
Who gets all the players' passports and who has to pay for that?
We had to pay for all the passports and we had to get them all.
Wow.
Yeah.
And
everybody that's on the trip has to, now it was interesting the number of people that already had passports, which
that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. I know that the Cyclone Tailgate Tour is going to kick off on Monday. You're going to be all around the state. I'll probably stop over on Friday and see over there and count the bluffs. But is this an event you look forward to every year? Because we had John Walters on earlier in the week, and this was your brainchild. And he just talks about the connection you've been able to make with fans. But it's also good, like on the bus, because all the coaches, they know each other, but they don't get to spend a lot of time together during the season. So it's kind of a team building thing too.
Well, it is, and I may find out that we changed it this year, so they may not like me as much by the end of the week. We used to do it in 2.5 days one week and 2.5 days the next week. This week we're just doing one straight week on the road. So by the time we get to Omaha, there'll probably be 2 things happening. We'll be sick of each other, but we'll be fired up because it's the last day. So, but no, it's been really successful. I would attribute it to a big part of, the development of our athletics program over the last 20 years. I think it was a cause, but I also think it is a reflection also of a lot of good things that happened during that time. We joked back then when we started it that we needed to go plant our own seeds and grow our own fans, and so that can sound kind of hokey, but I do believe that's happened.
Yeah.
But that wasn't the only thing that was happening during that time period. So it all kind of comes together, but it's fun. It's a reminder when we go on the road of the 90, like I said earlier, there's those days you go, it's time to be done. And then there's days that you're reminded like, this is really cool. And next week, I've already talked to TJ. I'm going to meet with Coach Campbell right after this podcast, just to talk about next week. And next week will be a healthy reminder that people just are excited. And 99.9% of the people we talk to could care less to hear me talk about the problems in college athletics. They just want to hear they want to see the coaches. They want to get autographs. They want to talk about the bowl games, the blah, 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 right? And so enjoy the moment.
All right, Jamie, we appreciate you giving us time. I know you're a busy guy. Don't let John Higgins ski at Lake Panorama, all right? So
is he like your agent? Because he called me to say, Travis wants to have you on. And I'm like, so Travis goes through you now, John, huh? Did John take a cut of this?
Yeah, no, but I do some things for John. I host his Make the Right Calls podcast with Steve Olson, and John has his basketball association. So, and we've been hanging out for 20 years together, and I knew you guys were friends. I'm like, I went through Nick Jost, I went the proper channels, but I said, hey, if you could nudge Jamie a little bit, that'd be great. That'd be great.
You helped me work on John because I'm trying to get him to upgrade his boat because I sold my wakeboard boat and got a pontoon, and his ski boat you can't wake surf behind, but they were looking at a new boat.
Well, it's time.
I was like, John, you need to do that because the best boat to own is your neighbors. And so I need somebody I can wake surf behind.
So I will call him right after this and say, Jamie says get a new boat. That's the cost of coming on the show.
I love it.
I hope you come on with us again, Jamie. It's been a fun conversation. I know you're busy, but maybe sometime before the season starts, we can do it again. Just talk about everything that's settled out and everything else that is happening. We appreciate the time, sir.
And congrats on your success, Jamie. We talk about it a lot on the show, and our comments are reflective of it. You've done an amazing job at Iowa State. I hope you feel that. I know that in the middle of the mud, it might be hard to step back and look. You've left quite a legacy there, and very impressive. So thanks a lot for all of that hard work.
Well, thanks. And I'll look to see if we can increase the Ireland budget to $525 and take the Rush with us.
There you go. Perfect. We'd sign up.
Daily shows from Dublin.
Yeah, we could do that. And that'd be in the afternoon, so it'd be perfect. All right, Jamie, guys. Have a good weekend. Appreciate it. Jamie Pollard joining us on the Rush Radio Show. If you missed any part of the interview, just go back and listen to it on the replay at therushradio.com. We got to go because we're out of time. Have a great weekend, Ross Peterson.
See you, buddy.
The Rush Radio Show at therushradio.com.
Spring is here, and so are spring pests. Whether it's birds in your dryer vent, raccoons in your chimney, squirrels in your soffit, ants in your kitchen, or bats in your attic, with over 20 years of experience, Bats and Bugs Pest Solutions can help. Call us today at 515-218-3400 to schedule your inspection and see how bats and bugs can help prevent your home from becoming their home.
Hi everyone and welcome to May. It's finally starting to feel like spring. I'm John Lanera, sales manager here at Willis Lexus, and this month we've got some great specials. We have interest rates as low as 3.79 on select models, and if you prefer to lease, we have $1,000 of lease cash on RX, $2,000 on ES and ES Hybrid, and $2,500 on NX Gas. And don't forget this month we've got the Principal Charity Classic coming on, so expect to see you guys out there. I invite you to stop out and take a look, or visit us online at willislexus.com.
The largest selection of German beer in the world? You'll find it at the Hessen House. From Doppelbox to Oktoberfest to Hefeweizens and Dunkels, there's no passport needed for the deliciously different beer and food at the Hessen House. So grab your friends and make it a fun night out. The Hessen House, 4th and Court, Des Moines.
You know, Brian, at Central City, we really do have the best selection around.
I know, high quality stuff you can't find anywhere else.
Whistle Pig Plantation Rum.
Yeah, and over 150 of the best scotches on earth.
And a ton of bitters, mixers, and more.
You know what we are? High class.
Definitely high class, yeah.
Make way for the natty.
Okay, maybe medium class.
Central City Liquors, home of the 10% cash coupon.
And the Wooden Nickel program.
Back like a rash you thought was gone. Travis and Ross aren't contagious, but they are addictive. It's the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive.